So we want to ask questions that dig underneath the request. So usually the request is, hey, I need a logo. Hey, I need a rebrand. We need to dig below that. So what motivated this question? What motivated you to want to rebrand? What are you trying to do in your business that you need this to get you there? Because really all the deliverables that we create as designers, they're a vehicle for the business to do something. And usually it's to attract a certain type of customer, it's to build their revenue. There's some business goal underneath.
The Perspective Podcast is fuel for your mind and creative grind. Each week, my guests and I provide the skills for thinking bigger, overcoming adversity, and making an impact with your work. PC family, today I'm joined by my new friend, the brilliant Melinda Livsey. Welcome to the Perspective Podcast. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
And you're in Cali?
Yeah.
All right. It's way nicer right now than Iowa, but at least we don't have any snow. So for those who don't know, can you give us a brief Wikipedia page summary about who you are, what you do, and why people should care?
Oof. Yeah. Okay, let me
right
see
on
how
the
I can
spot.
do this. Yeah. So I have been a graphic designer. I was a graphic designer for, about 9 years. And then I learned about brand strategy, got really interested into that, realized that answered a lot of issues that I was having when I was a designer and why I was so frustrated, why there were so many revisions clients were asking me for, why I was just so frustrated. I was just a very frustrated designer. And I learned brand strategy. That solved a lot of things for both myself and my clients. And now I'm a strategist, but not only that, I teach designers how to make that transition from designer to brand strategist and why they should care. Well, if they were a frustrated designer like I was, and just felt like you're missing something or feeling like you're missing something as a designer, feeling like you're not getting or you're not giving rather value to your clients or the amount of value that you'd like to, you want to give more value, then you probably should listen.
Outside of just design, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And I guess at my day job, I got sick and tired of being like, just someone who you bark a command, here, I do it. I like that consulting side of things. And I think you position yourself as a teacher.
Mm-hmm.
You're also a teacher, and I think I am too. And that's why I really align with what you're doing. So let's just do a real brief mini crash overview of like brand strategy 101 in case this is a new term for someone, and how you implement it with your clients. And then I want to like start paralleling it to like my audience. A lot of freelancers will have this, but I think it goes deeper to people like me, who maybe coach or people who do consulting or anything like that. So it's a broad thing that we can apply to multiple different facets.
Yeah, it is a very broad thing. I think it applies to really any business, anyone who's in business that wants to connect with a certain type of clientele or customer, which really is any business.
Yes,
so
perfect.
How I break it down and how I try to understand it myself is that brand strategy first and foremost is getting us to a goal. Because really, what's the point of a strategy if it's not a plan to get you somewhere, to get you to a goal? So how I like to think of it is you have a brand, you have the ideal client or customer of that brand, and then the strategy is the plan that connects the two. So what needs to be done? How does the brand need to be seen by the ideal customer? What touch points, as in like what are the ideal clients looking for, or what problems are they having, and how can that brand get into that person's life? So it's how to connect. Really, it's like matchmaking. How do you connect the brand with the ideal customer? Just to simply put, it's that. And it's the plan to get the brand to the ideal customer. So that's how I think of it. I know if you ask 10 different people, you're going to get 10 different answers, but that's how I like to break it down and think of it. It's matchmaking. So you're surfacing everything you need to know about the brand, what makes them special and unique. You're surfacing everything you need to know about the ideal customer and client, and then why they should care about the brand. And you're making this brand attractive as if you would a person for someone else. You're making it attractive to that customer or client.
So what you're trying to say is it's basically like Tinder for creatives, matching businesses with the right brands and providing that service and giving them a match.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
pretty much
Kind of.
exactly what you
Pretty
said,
much.
right?
Yeah,
I'm not going
much.
to.
No,
Okay.
you're, yeah. Yeah. So
Okay.
it's as if we're doing like the dating profile
Oh
of,
gosh,
of the
I
business.
haven't done one of those in a long, long, long time. Oh, so, okay. So let's bring it full circle now for the people who are listening. So my audience is full of side hustling content creators, artists, designers, and freelancers. And I think from a freelancer's perspective, that would help a lot, understanding kind of how do you connect to that ideal client. But at the same time, like what are some brand strategy tips you could give all types of these content creators, designers that not only are going to connect them with an ideal client, but an ideal follower, an ideal fan, an ideal listener, an ideal reader, or an ideal customer?
Yeah.
What are some tips to go deep? Because I know you're talking about like psychographics, demographics, getting into that end user's head. Like that was what changed me when I started a podcast. I guess for more context, I didn't know what the hell I was doing. I wanted to help creatives because I was so lost. But now it's like I have this personal avatar who I know is someone who's struggling outside of a day job, and they want to invest their money into conferences and workshops and online courses. And they're a listener of the show for some of those. That's kind of the journey I went through. And now it's like, oh crap, I know exactly who's on the other line that I'm speaking directly to. Act like I'm typing an email when I write something. But like, what are some of the tips and guidelines that you would give to all type of creators?
Yeah, well, you outlined a lot of it too, is knowing who you're talking to. So one tip would be is outlining who that ideal client is. So for any freelancer listening, for any artist listening, who do you want to work with? What type of person? But I would also go into what's their personality? What do they believe? What do you guys connect on too? I think for artists and freelancers, it really helps to connect with people who believe something similar that you do. So what type of things are they into? What books are they reading? What's their personality like? What's their humor like? It's as if you're getting to know this date that you're going to ask out, right? So you really want to know
Tinder.
everything. Yeah, you want to know everything about them. I would also suggest making what we call an empathy graph, which is just a one-page day in the life of this person. So if you were to show this to a friend and say, this is the type of client that I want to get, if you were to just visualize it and that person and their life, what would that look like? What do they drink? What do they wear? What's their lifestyle like? And that other person should be able to tell, like, oh, I know who you're trying to get after. It's this person with this type of lifestyle, and this is where they probably would hang out. You could probably make a lot of assumptions just based off of looking at them. So you could make a Pinterest board of that. Like I said, you could make a one page where you're just visualizing, what does this person look like? Where are they hanging out? What's their lifestyle like? What's a day in the life? What are they eating? Everything. What are they into? So that you can wrap your head around, oh, this is the person I'm talking to. You can do it that way, or you can also think of what other client have you had, an actual person that you loved working with. You loved their personality. You loved how they did business. You loved the business that they were in, and make this profile, or we call it a persona, based off of that person. And that really helps. So that's just one very simple way to do that, because like you said, all of your messaging, everything you create is going to be done as if you were talking to that very person. And it's going to make everything so much more personal. It's going to connect with a lot more people. And I get a lot of pushback with like, well, I don't want to just attract one type of person. I don't want just one person. And it's like, just that's your target, but you're going to also attract all these other people that are similar.
As like a byproduct. Yeah. It ripples.
Yeah, as a byproduct. Yeah. Yes. But I say it is if your brand, or if you had a best friend that literally bought everything that you did, that was your number one client, that if every single client was this person, you'd be thrilled.
Yeah.
Build the profile around that absolute ideal. And like you said, you're going to get other people as a byproduct, and that's totally fine. But we need to know what the ideal is first.
This is gold. This is gold, everyone. So I guess my goal with my students is to never show up and guess what you're posting, or, it's connecting. So what if they don't know, if they're early on in their stages, they're a hobbyist turned into like a side hustler trying to take their stuff really serious for the first time. And they don't know, like for me, I didn't know who it was in the beginning. It was more, I'm creating for what I needed.
Mm-hmm.
And I was kind of that avatar until I started gaining traction. Like, what advice do you have someone just starting off?
Yeah, there's a couple of different routes you could take. One is create for yourself, create the things that you like. And I hear a lot of pushback with that, like, you aren't your ideal client. And actually sometimes you are. And that's okay. So if you're just starting out and you want to just create things that you wish was out in the marketplace, and you see a gap there, just create it. That's totally fine, because there probably are other people out there like you. And so I would say that's completely relevant. You could do that. Another option is go talk to people. So if you have a specific type of service and you're less of an artist and you're a freelancer, then I would say go talk to people that might be in need of your services, that you connect with, that you like hanging out with. Maybe go join an Eventbrite, something around your neighborhood, go to a networking event, try to find where these potential clients might be, but just as market research. So just go out, meet people, talk to them, find out what they're like, and almost interview them, I would say, to really find out what are their problems, what's on their mind, what do they like doing. Just get to know more people, really. So you could take one of those two routes.
And especially, I want to challenge you introverts out there. There's a good amount of you. Are you pretty introverted?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right, I'm like complete opposite of that. I'll talk to anyone. Unless you like take me to like a big conference where I don't know anybody and it's like not my normal crowd, then I get pretty introverted. But so after you kind of do these like an empathy graph, understanding really knowing who you're talking to, what's kind of like the next step from there?
Yeah, I would see what are they dealing with? Are they having any problems that you can solve? Are they into something specific? And I know if you're an artist, you might not have a technical problem that you're solving for this client, but what is a gap that you could fill in their life, or what's special about you that they would like, and what would attract them?
Like
And that's
your unique differentiator,
yes,
your like
yes.
I like to call it your secret sauce.
Mm-hmm,
You
mm-hmm.
know,
I
like
would find that out.
but yeah, okay,
Yeah,
okay. And
yeah.
that's why I asked you earlier, why should people care? I think a lot of creatives or content creators just be like, hey, this is what I do. This is what I do. You know, instead of like, this is what I do and this is how it provides you value.
Mm-hmm,
And
mm-hmm.
I think that's a hard thing for a lot of us. And that's why I like copywriting. You know, you're speaking to the benefit, but um, how do you dig deeper if I guess an example I use is you're not hiring a plumber to fix your pipes. You're hiring a plumber for peace of mind so you can sleep at night so your pipes won't freeze.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like how do you
Mm-hmm.
dig deep and help your businesses, your clients, you know, really think about that differentiator, their secret sauce? How do you help them find that?
Yeah, yeah, that's such a good question. That's something that I think needs to happen at the very beginning of working with a client and this goes into a lot of conversations. We can pull this out of our clients, where first off, we want to know what they're trying to do. So we want to ask questions that dig underneath the request. So usually the request is, hey, I need a logo. Hey, I need a rebrand. We need to dig below that. So what motivated this question? What motivated you to want to rebrand? What are you trying to do in your business that you need this to get you there? Because really all the deliverables that we create as designers, they're a vehicle for the business to do something, and usually it's to attract a certain type of customer, it's to build their revenue. There's some business goal underneath, so we need to know that. And if we're able to get that, then at least we know, well, that's the value that we're bringing. So a lot of times us designers don't ask the questions to dig deep to find that out. And that's where the value is, that underneath it all, where the value isn't necessarily in a logo. The value isn't necessarily in whatever it is that we design for them. It's what that thing is going to do for the business. So that's the value question. So we need to know what's driving it, what's the goal that we're trying to get to, so that we can see, did we actually get to that goal? Did this logo actually do the thing that you wanted it to do? It's like fixing the pipes. Did that actually give you the peace of mind and certainty that you're okay and that you're not going to have a flood in your house? So that's the value question. The other question about digging out the unique, could say, yeah, the differentiator, what makes you unique. So that typically happens in a brand strategy workshop, officially with what I do. And I dig into, why do people do what they do? Like, what, if it's an artist, like, why did they start doing what they do? What are they trying to tell the world? What are they trying to communicate? And I typically dig into someone's story. So it starts early on, a lot of times in childhood, when someone got interested into whatever it is they're doing now. Maybe something happened in their life that drew them to this thing. And really, a lot of brands, they are filling a need that nobody else is. So they're either communicating in a certain way that nobody else is. They're filling a need that no one else is. So there's different angles you can take in how to separate yourself out and differentiate yourself. It could be through your personality, but it also could be the thing that you're doing is completely different than everybody else.
Can I put you on the spot here?
Of course.
What for your business and your brand and you just in general and your personal brand and how you show up, with your multiple touch points that you work in, what's your key differentiator?
That's a great
What's your secret
question.
sauce that you bring to the table? Because
Yeah.
I've struggled figuring out mine, and it's been people telling me it and me listening, and
Yes.
they've articulated what it is for me. Someone like Tom Ross who connected us. So like,
Yeah.
what's yours?
Yeah,
And how
that's
did
a
you how did you
fantastic
determine
question.
yours?
By just doing. So I would say mine is, and I'm still trying as you, like I'm trying to articulate exactly what that is. And one suggestion I got was instead of saying I'm a brand strategist, then changing it to the. So I'm the brand strategist. That doesn't really work, right?
Unless you're like
Because everyone can say that. So I
locking
thought,
down that mental space.
what am
Yeah.
I the right. So
Yeah.
I'm trying to think, what mental space am I trying to lock down? And for me, it's I'm the future's first case study. So I can own that space for me. So what does that mean? Well, it means that I actually put into practice what I learned, right? So I'm an expert learner. So I'm still trying to articulate what it is that differentiates me among everyone else. But a lot of it has to do with one, my story. So me being on the future and that whole thing and what comes with that. The other is what I do is very community based and it's supportive. And so there's a lot of clarity that comes out of what I do and what I teach because of the communities that I build. And that is very unique if you put me next to all of the other brand strategists that are teaching, that does differentiate me from most of them. As nobody else is really doing it the way I am.
I think that's great. And that's what I want to challenge everyone. Because I mean, we're all in sales, every day, we're selling ourselves. So like, you basically just sold yourself to me. You have to sell yourself to your potential clients that are finding you, or you doing outreach. I'm not sure how you have to do it, but a lot of people are freelancers and they're doing outreach. So how can you sell yourself within a pitch deck? How can you sell
Mm-hmm.
yourself with your unique personality? Like someone like Chutzpah, Amy and Jen.
Mm-hmm.
They sell themselves with their personality within their copy. It's not
Mm-hmm.
just design, but their copyright. Like so, like I, I I think that's something I want to challenge everyone. So that's why I asked you the question, why should people care? It's like you're selling
Mm-hmm.
yourself, So,
Yeah.
from there, when you have that key differentiator and you're really digging deep to figure out what that value, discovering what their like pain points are, right? So,
Mm-hmm.
what's kind of the next phase going there? I hope people are really processing all this of how can I apply this to my world and figured out my personal brand and my own key differentiator, even if I'm just trying to grow a fan base with a podcast, and
Mm-hmm.
understanding who that one person is, what's the value you can provide them, that end user benefit that can solve a solution. And what's your key differentiator or your unique, your secret
Mm-hmm.
sauce. So, what's kind of the next thing from there?
Yeah, well, and I want to back up really quick about the key differentiator. You might not be able to find that out until you just start doing.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of us just want to think and think and think and be like, well, it could be this, it could be that, and try to articulate it. And I'm still trying to articulate my key differentiator is. I hope that someone could see it before I myself can even articulate it, that I just hope it's seen and that I don't have to say it necessarily. So I would say just go forward and take action, and your key differentiator most likely will rise to the surface. People will start seeing what makes you different. And like you said, they'll articulate it back to you. You're like, oh,
And
that's what I'm doing.
that's how it's been too. So if you're the person who's like twiddling your thumbs, constantly just like chewing things over your mind, not taking action, you're stalling. Like you can't steer a parked car. But I feel the more I found personally, the more I continue to just show up in just a specific direction. Like I have a target and I'm just moving towards it, and things are going to evolve. But as I continue to move towards that target, omens or signs or things start, I guess, revealing the answers toward me, or someone will come and just articulate, oh, hey, you're really good at showing the healthy art of side hustling. I was like, oh, wow. Like, boom, you just kind of like summarized what I was looking for. Like someone else is going to articulate it for you by
Mm-hmm.
taking action. Yeah. So just move.
Yeah. Yeah. And capture those things that people say, capture them, take them, make note of them, use them in your messaging. Most of my messaging is taken from what someone else said
Yes.
about me.
And you're just like repeating the language of someone else. That
Yes.
is pretty much your target demographic audience,
Exactly.
that specific person. How do you collect your ideas and stuff? Like I use like Google Sheets or notes, you know?
Yeah, I use Evernote. It's not organized. It's a mess. Or I text myself. I will text myself during the day.
Hey,
Like, oh, I got to
Melinda.
remember this. And I do that. Yeah.
Okay. I put Siri to work over here too. So I think my wife gets jealous because I use Siri all the time.
Yeah.
Okay. I think that's, and man, I want to like jump on a tangent talking about like putting in work. Let's tie a bow on this because I want to go into like you taking massive action on like your 30-day challenge and go deep on that. Cause I think what you're doing there is absolutely incredible.
Thank you.
So we pick up after like your comment of taking action.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So next steps from there for a person listening.
Yeah. So after they have their key differentiator, they know who they're talking to, they know what makes them special. I would say then start finding out, where do those people hang out that you want to attract, and how can you attract them using your key differentiator? So how can you get their attention? So we go through a customer journey or a client journey of where are all the places that this person might see you, might become aware of you. And I like to put myself through a thought exercise myself where I'm like, okay, what's the last thing that I bought that I was super excited about, that I was telling everybody about? And I walk through the journey of how did I become aware of them? Why did I buy, or why did I sign up for their email list? Or why did I start following them? Why did I tell anybody about it? Why am I such an evangelist for this person or brand or service? And once you have that written out, that's the type of relationship that you want your clients to have with you. So then think, okay, well, if I found my favorite artist on Instagram, maybe I should be on Instagram. Let's start there. Maybe my ideal clients are right there. So we're trying to find touch points of what's the relationship going to look like between your client that you want and you, and how do we make that connection like spark? How do we make a spark between the two? The other thing is so we're trying to find now the connection points, and what do we do now to connect with that ideal client? The other things I do is I try to find who else is serving that ideal client that has so it's the same audience that I want, but how are they serving them in a different way? So who can I list out? So these are potential partners that you can reach out to. Who is serving this client in a different way, but it's the same client? So when I was working on just client work, I was connecting with product developers. I was connecting with web designers, web developers. I was connecting also with business consultants, with accountants. So who is going to be working with these potential ideal clients? And then I need to reach out and start talking to them and seeing if I can help provide their clients with value. So that's also another way. So we're looking for connection points at this point in the game.
Man, this is super in depth. So like, who is your ideal kind of client that you want to work with and go through this? Is this basically like a format of how you would take someone through like a workshop?
We're going like high level. So there's a lot of deeper exercises that we go through, but generally speaking, we go over the brand surface, what makes them unique, go over the ideal client. Who are they? What's their life like? Demographics, all that. What are their pain points? What are their problems? And then we do a client journey, customer journey. Yeah. So overview. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Mm-hmm. How long does like a typical workshop, something like this, take with a brand or a client?
Typically it's 2 consecutive days of 6 to 8 hours.
Just deep.
Yes. Very
lots
deep.
Of snacks. Okay.
Yes. Lots of food. Yeah.
So after you get all those touch points and everything, where do you go from there? When do you start collecting all the data and going to work and making it a reality for them?
Yeah. So after that, we break down, okay, well, if this is what we need to do, we start marking down what the 3-month goal is based off of what they originally came to us for. Remember that big goal? They're like, we want to do this in our business. We look at usually 3 months at a time. We think, okay, what's feasible in this 3 months, given your time, energy, resources, budget, all that. And we start prioritizing all of those touch points that came out in the user journey or the client journey. What should we start working on first? What's going to give us the most impact with the least amount of investment? What are those things? And we try to prioritize at that point actual action steps that they can start doing. Because a lot of times business owners, well, really any business owner has a really hard time knowing what they need to do next. And a lot of times people get paralyzed, or they just get shiny object syndrome, and they just try everything, but then nothing's really working. So that's what this strategy is for. It's to give them an action plan and a roadmap to that goal that they're trying to get to. And so then we just list out, okay, this is what we need to do by this time. And this is roughly the budget that you have allotted for that. And then as a strategist, I will refer them to people to get those things done. Cause I don't typically do all those things. And there's a lot of PR in that. There's social media, there's maybe graphics that need to be created. So I will refer out to a lot of people for that, but it's the action plan. That would be what's next. Yeah.
Okay. So I like that you say 3 months at a time. Cause like my coaching program is 3 months at a time, and something, and you talk about niching down, which I think we can touch on here a little bit. I'm big on that. Tom's big on that. And it's not a life sentence. So just like going all out in one direction for minimum of 3 months, working towards that carrot, your target, I really, really like that, and that flexibility, and then reanalyze, come back and revisit, where can you pivot and go from there. So I like that you bring that into that world too. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So anything else you want to kind of add on to this at all? The tips for, going deep and figuring out, who that customer is, brand strategy, action plans.
Oh gosh, there could be so much more, but I think that's a good overview of what it is.
I think that's going to be a lot for a lot of people, who are this type of listener for here. I think it's great and gold, and I feel like we're able to package it up on how they can apply it to their grind. So, as this comes out, you recently just finished your 30-day Instagram challenge. Oh, real quick, the cat says hi.
Oh.
Yep. We're leaving it live in the podcast. So, you just finished this 30-day Instagram challenge. Talk a little bit more about the purpose, the execution behind it. I know you had like an artist help you out with it too. But you did a lot of things that I preach here on the show, using fear as your compass. Like, dude, that's huge for me. Fear is your indicator. Niching down, loving your current audience. I want to really hit that one. But what was the whole goal and purpose and intention behind this?
Yeah, well, it's funny because we went from strategy of actually having a plan and an agenda and trying to reach a goal to this, which literally had none of that.
Really? But I was thinking this would like carry over. You're creating 30 days of content for someone specific.
Well, I guess, yes, in a way it was. It was created. I guess here's the caveat. There was no financial goal at the end.
Still a goal though.
There is a goal. Yeah. The goal was to attract more designers and people who believe similar to what I do. So I wanted to get people who are my tribe.
So your goal was to build a tribe of like-minded people to your brand. Yes. You're waving your freak flag over here. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah. So it's just that there was no direct monetary goal from this. And that really helps. I wanted to stress that, because creating something that you love, if it has the $ attached to it, a lot of times we don't create the best work. We create weird stuff. Weird stuff happens to us. I don't know what it is.
Thank you. It stresses you out. Yeah. To the point, if like that end goal is a $ with your career, especially in the beginning, if you feel like you have to profit or monetize off this passion project or something right away, like you're setting yourself up for a really slippery slope. So thank you for addressing that. Because like when you say there's no $ attached to it, I'm like, that's okay though.
Yeah. But a lot of times I would create things. I had to break myself from that mentality, because a lot of times I saw the $, even if it was far off in the future, I saw
your eyes
it there.
Creating a funnel somehow.
Yes, it did. It did. So I thought, no, I just want to create something that I'm just attracting, like you said, the tribe, the people that believe what I do or want to learn with me too. Just the type of person I want to hang out with. Really, that's what I want to attract. So I contacted one of my friends who I've done concept projects before, where we just collaborated just for the fun of it and created a project together. So I contacted him and said, hey, I have a lot of content that I've written over the past few years, a lot of insights, a lot of things that I've learned that I'd love to share with my audience. Here's the thing. I'm super lazy and I don't want to create Instagram posts. I just don't. I don't have any desire at this moment in time. I love teaching. I love brand strategy. I am not that into designing myself right now, more into directing and that, but not actually hands-on designing. So I contacted him, very talented sketch noting illustrator. And I said, hey, would you want to do this with me where I give you the insight and what I've learned, and then you visualize it however you want, and then we'll post it on both of our Instagrams. We'll give our own take on the insight and what we've learned, or a backstory, and then we'll just do it for fun. And he's like, yeah, let's do it. And so that's what we've been doing.
Are you like making them as you go? So I got it up right now. One of them is all about, saying yes to almost everything. And as years go on, you could be more selective. Now it's become, if it's only a hell yes, otherwise it's a hell no. Results over effort, helps you grow. I don't know. Like, check creativity. So success leaves clues. Like, that's the kind of stuff we talk about here, work and play. But so these are just true things that you enjoy talking about, and are you just whipping them up on the fly, or did you guys like spend all of January making these? And that way you just have everything in the queue ready to go.
No, so I've been writing an email newsletter for about 2 years now, and I haven't been as consistent now, but when I was just tracking my journey as an entrepreneur and as a business owner and what I learned, because I wanted that timestamp. I wanted to know, what am I learning right now? And I wanted people, if they wanted to learn from me, to jump on the list and just follow my journey. And so I had a lot of these things that I've been learning over the past few years, and that clicked. Like, I only wanted to share things that really clicked with me, that I could feel it. Like, when you hear something and you know it, but then when it moves to your heart and you actually know it, know it, those are the types of things that I wanted to share. And so I skimmed through all of my previous content because I wanted to leverage that too. And I wanted to not forget this. And I called it the notes to self, the series of it, because they're notes to self. Like, they're notes that I don't want to forget and I want to remember them. And so I skimmed through all my old content. I picked out the stuff that was really impactful for me or my audience, where I got a lot of responses. And then I made a Google Doc of all of them. And I said, hey, Anthony, here's a ton of them. I'll keep adding to them. If you want to add to it, go ahead. And so we had a ton to choose from. And then every day he would just pick one. So he was the one that was working on it every day. And then we got backed up a little bit and had to take a few days off. But he's the one that's been illustrating them every single day, where I had all of them prepared ahead of time, at least the insights ahead of time.
So what are you learning about yourself and your tribe, and like, what's working? Do more of what works. Maybe this isn't working so much if you want to grow a tribe. Like, what kind of things are you learning from this 30-day project?
Oh man, it's hard. It's hard to be consistent, even for me, where Anthony's putting in more time than I am, because he actually has to illustrate something where I'm writing
these, by the way. These are dope.
Crazy.
Yeah.
And then I realized too, so that's one thing. It's very hard to keep something up for every day. And I know, especially for him. The other thing is, doing something like this, especially as a collaborative effort, is so much more fun than doing it by myself. I am so thankful that I have someone like Anthony to collaborate with, because this would have been fine to do by myself. But like I said, I didn't really want to design or illustrate these things. And I saw that he could do it way better. So we were able to marry both of our strengths, and it was beautiful. And the cool part about this is that it opened the door for more collaborations. Somebody else hopped on and started animating some of the illustrations.
Sick.
So he reached out to Anthony and said, hey, I'd love to illustrate some of your illustrations. Or animate them? And can I have the file? And then I'll do it. And so, because this was not a client project and nobody's really making money from it, it was just an awareness thing that people can hop on board and add to it. And it's just this amazing collaborative effort where everyone shares in the awareness and the exposure, if you want to say, but everyone's happy about it. So it's a beautiful thing. It's really fun.
I noticed some of the more vulnerable ones, like loving your current audience, attacking fear. I see those really, like, vulnerability really hooks people. That's what I feel like is the hardest thing to do, especially when your backstory, like, that's what changed the game for me, was my backstory. That's what connects you with people. But I see, like, the fear lights your way, like those. Are you, being an introvert, is it hard for you to kind of like open up about things that are not necessarily just tied to brand strategy?
Well, it used to be, but like I had mentioned earlier about how I'm the Futur's first case study, my whole story has been exposed to, I don't even know, 500,000 people maybe by this point. And I learned how to be vulnerable on that show. And because I did, and like you said, your backstory sells you, that's exactly the same thing with me, where I learned how to be vulnerable. People connected with me and my story. So I feel so much more comfortable now in posting things like this and sharing more of what I was thinking, what I was going through, because I'm used to it now, sharing that. But at first
It was hard in the beginning, right?
really scary. It was really scary.
In terms of feeling judged?
Oh, everything. Like, what if my clients see this?
Mm.
What if they see that I'm not who they think I am? What if they hear how I don't know what I think or what they think I know? Like all
What
the
if they
things.
know I just tell them what they want to hear?
Yeah, so many things, so many things. But there was a point where I was like, you know what? I'm just going to be transparent. And if they don't like me, they don't like me. And it was great because then at that point in time, I started attracting people that I loved because they actually knew the real me and they loved it. And so those who weren't okay with the real me didn't reach out to me. And it was great. I didn't have to be someone I wasn't.
I think that's perfect. Like my life motto is you can't make everyone happy. You are not pizza. And once you can fall in love and embrace the real you, you open up the door for others, the right people, going for depth instead of casting a net for width.
Mhm.
I think that's great. So after this series is done, you know, what's next? You know, where's the momentum taking you? Because I feel like you don't have a lot of time for personal pursuits of things. You know, so what's this going to lead to?
Yeah, this specific 30-day challenge, I hope leads to more 30-day challenges. So I'm already in talks with through about 2 to 3 people, one being an agency that we wanted to collaborate on something. So I said, how about we do another 30-day thing where we can either do similar to what we're doing now, me and Anthony, or change it up completely. So I'm talking with others and what that could look like. And I'd love to do this as just what I usually post on Instagram. Cause I if I posted stuff, it takes me 3 months sometimes for me to start posting again. And then I do a couple posts and then I stop. And I love collaborating with people. So I want to keep this going. I want to keep the momentum going and keep collaborating.
I dig it. And one other thing I want to touch on, teaching what you know and teaching from experience. Like how important has that been in your journey? Instead of feeling like you have to teach the experts like Chris Do, you don't have to reach him. You're more reaching. Like that's what's been big for me is sharing my story and then just teaching what I learned and experiences along the way.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know, so a lot of
Oh
people are
yeah.
just scared to teach. And you've talked about teaching multiple times, especially to get to where you are right now. But like,
Mhm.
what's a little word of encouragement you can get to someone? You know, the buckets of value, entertainment, educational, inspirational, but that educational bucket.
Yeah.
You know, what's a little word of encouragement you can get to those who feel compelled to teach, but they don't feel like it's worthwhile?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's interesting because a lot of times we think we're an imposter until we start teaching. And
Mm.
then we realize how much we actually do know. So I would say if you feel like an imposter, it's probably because you need to teach someone behind you. And you're ahead of someone, you just might not know it yet. And I encourage people to teach their last successful step. So whatever
Ooh.
you just learned and you are trying to master, if you teach it, you can master it because it'll give you that extra time to clarify your thinking, to articulate it. If you can teach it to someone else, that means you know it and you can understand it. So I always say, teach your last successful step.
And that successful step is that thing where it was in the head, but now it's in the heart.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Mm-hmm.
gold. I like that. Okay. One more question, and then we're going to jump into rapid fire.
Yeah.
uh, this show is fuel for your mind and creative grind for a reason. You know, it's bigger than that, changing the lens through which you see the world. So what are some of your internal or external sources that keep the fire burning? You know, what gets you just pumped to get out of bed each day, get back up to the plate and keep swinging versus like,
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to do this today. Or even when you don't want to do it, you show up when it's not convenient. Like what are your fuel sources? What drives you?
It's the people. It's the people I serve. It's the people. It's my audience. It's those I've
Serve.
helped.
Serve.
Yes. Yes. I'm here to serve. I'm here to do what I can to help them get where they're going. And people are counting on me. Like I have meetings, I have masterminds that I run. Like people are showing up to to get where they're going or they need something and I need to show up. And so the people are the ones that drive me.
I love it. So what if there was no people at the time and you
Oh
didn't have that
gosh.
step yet? What would be
Yeah.
that internal source then?
Yeah, I would think the hope of being of value to someone. So even if I'm not there yet now, to just think ahead that I will be of value to someone. And I think just the act of creating, of moving forward, of progress, that is a big driver for me too. So seeing improvement in myself is huge as well. But it to me, it's a lot of stuff, it's just not valuable if it's not going to benefit someone else. So I always bring that in of how is it going to benefit someone else.
I dig it. Creating for the bigger picture. You're just like
Hmm.
a small cog in something bigger. And
Hmm.
I love that. Okay. Rapid fire. I hope you're ready for this.
Okay.
This one's super serious. If you were on death row,
Ooh.
what would your last slice of pizza be?
My last slice of pizza, veggie pizza.
Anywhere specific? Do you make your own?
There's this place called Zito's that's here in Southern California. It's pretty good. I
Okay.
would have a Zito's pizza, veggie
Veggie.
pizza.
I
Yeah.
would try that, but I'm more of a pepperoni guy. Veggies on pizza.
It's the green bell peppers I love on pizza.
See, and I let people enjoy pizza. If you like pineapple on it, let people enjoy things. There's no one way of loving your pizza. So, okay, if you could have lunch with one person, dead or alive, who would it be and why?
Ooh, lunch with one person, dead or alive. I would say Tim Keller. He writes a lot of books that I love, and I love his mind. And he's alive.
Okay. Speaking of books, then, what's your favorite book? And if you were a book, what would it be about?
Okay, favorite book is actually by Tim Keller. It's called The Freedom of Self-Forgetfulness. Love that book. And if I was a book, what would it be about and why? It would probably be about something about perfectionism, or like my journey from being a perfectionist to hopefully not being one right now.
Okay, I've never asked that question before. I might have to ask that from
That's
now
a
on.
good one.
All right, if you were stranded on an island, what are 3 things you would have to have with you to refrain from dying from boredom?
Ooh, my dog. Um, One other person, hopefully that I liked, I like hanging out with. And then,
Hopefully, Tim Keller, right?
oh yeah, I was gonna say pencil and paper, but that's 2 things. So maybe I have to kick off the person and just keep pencil and paper.
Okay, we'll take, but at least you got your dog. Okay, let's keep this rolling. If you were reincarnated, what would your new career path be outside of brand strategy and design related?
Oh, I feel like I would want something in the sciences. I don't know where, but like a research. I want to be a researcher.
Okay, I
I
can see
love that.
that. Yeah,
Yeah.
you're a brainiac over there. Um, okay, last one before I go and ask you where people can follow and support you. So, do you believe in any type of paranormal or outside life sources outside our current solar system?
I'm open to the idea, but I have not formed an opinion fully of that yet. I'm skeptical, but I'm
Okay,
open to talking about it.
that's valid. Okay, I accept that. I
Yeah.
accept that. I won't judge you. Okay. Last one. Where can people go to follow you online and support you, connect with you, soak up all this goodness on your 30-day challenge and see what's coming next?
Yeah. So Instagram, that's where I'm there most. That's where the 30-day challenge is, and LinkedIn, both under Melinda Livsey. And then if they want to check out my site, it's marksandmaker.com.
Cool. Thank you so much. This was like a nice, refreshing change of pace. Nerding. Hi, Lucy again. Sorry, my cat. Thank you again for your time. Like, it's great to finally get to connect with you. Hopefully, we get a chance to grab a slice in person. I would try veggie if I got to hang with you. So,
Awesome.
all
Yes.
right. Have a good day. Thank
You
you.
too.
Peace. Thanks again for listening. It'd be awesome if you took the time to subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, and let the comment below so we can connect. Again, if you want to catch a shout out as a future listener of the week, make sure you subscribe to the show on iTunes and give it a rating and review.